Hey, my name is Ria Waller, and you are enrolled in CIT 95 Python at Fresno City College, 100% online. So, I've been teaching coding at Fresno City for a couple of years now, and I've been teaching specifically JavaScript. And when the opportunity was presented to me to teach Python, I was so excited just because Python, like when you look at the most popular programming languages, Python is almost always in the top five, sometimes in the top three. And there's various reasons why Python is up there. JavaScript, of course, is very popular because really any website is going to use it. And now Python, because of its flexibility with, of course, things like writing, creating servers, doing data science, doing automation, which is something we're going to actually look at in this class. Actually, we're going to look at many of those topics. So Python is just this summer, and I'm recording this a couple weeks before the start of the semester, as I delve further in, I like it. It's simple coding syntax. Any programming class, I almost hesitate to say it's simple, especially if this is your first time coding. Your first language can often be your most challenging because you're learning some major concepts in coding. But so I preface my statement just a little bit, but this is your start here video, right? So in this video, I've already kind of talked a little bit about Python. I'm going to actually turn in a minute to a survey of 2020 developers in 2020 in a site called Stack Overflow. If you don't know Stack Overflow, trust me, you will look at Stack Overflow at some point in the semester, just because it is the most popular place for people to go to ask questions. So anyway, we're going to look at that. I'm going to just give you an overview of the course and then talk specifically about like how this course operates and then how it's broken down as far as the grading. But the thing I can tell you, and this is true for all of my coding classes, is that 50% of your grade is actually from you writing some code on your own. Not that you can't get inspired from the web, but really the intention is that you're going to write some code on your own. And if you're new to coding, this is going to sound like, oh my God, trust me, it won't be. It does require some time and effort, which is what anything that's worth learning will take of you and give back to you. So let's switch a little bit. So this is the course. I'll come back and talk about it in just a minute. So the Stack Overflow survey I was talking about, this is the most popular in this particular survey. You're welcome to look at the whole thing. JavaScript, HTML, CSS, SQL, which is writing standard query language against databases, and Python is right there, right? And again, you could let's look at just professional developers. This hasn't really changed that much from the percentage of the of what they is most loved, right? So if you don't have any JavaScript or HTML and CSS, hey, talk to me because I have classes. We have classes here at City that cover those topics. So I hope you're encouraged, and there's obviously a reason why you chose this class. I'm guessing you already bring some interest in here. Is why you signed up. So either way, hope that gives you maybe a little more. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just briefly in our course look at the syllabus. And again, this is really something I recommend students do on their own, is look in this in more detail. In this coming semester, we are all in the online mode, so no big surprise there. You can tell that my office hours are all going to be through Zoom. And I have my biggest office hour, the one I will talk about in attendance for week one, on Wednesday nights, but you can see where they fall. You can see what the objectives of this course are. You can see that now this is the part the student always asks me about, like what's required. So this is where over this summer I gave this quite a bit of thought, because I'm going to be using what I am coming to realize is kind of the standard text for Python, which is automate the boring stuff. And it's great because it's a free ebook. And actually, here I give you the link to the ebook. And then I found that the author, Al here, actually did a Udemy course. And I really spent some time thinking about, should I use one versus the other? And what I'm going to do is say, I am require of you, and hopefully this is definitely obtainable to you, is to get the Udemy course. And what this gives us is a commonality of things that we're going to, as a class, work through. I've been using Udemy courses for a couple years now. My students in general say they enjoy them. So instead of a textbook, we're going to be using a video lecture series. And in this case, for this class, there's also an ebook for it. So I think it's the best of all worlds. You tell me if that's true. One thing I will say here about the Udemy is that I say it's between 15 and 20 bucks. Here's my key to this. If you do not have an account on Udemy, if you click on that link, you're going to see what's called, the retail price. So you want to create your Udemy course first and then go look at the course, and it should be around here, around that price. There are many, as a matter of fact, there's some of my students from JavaScript and other classes that I teach, and sometimes we get codes, so you can always ask about those if for some crazy reason, even after getting the account, you don't see this price. But again, I don't want you to pay any more than 20 bucks for this class, this course. And to me, that's definitely attainable when we look at what textbooks generally cost. Okay. All right. So that's a decision I've made. You do need to get that, just to be clear. I put in here the holidays. And then this is what I was talking about before, and you can see it also over here on the side, but the code alongs, which is where you will watch the Udemy course and code along with that, account for 25% of your grade. Each week, I will put together a learn together to take what you're learning in the lecture and the code alongs and extend that knowledge. And then 3 times a semester, and this is, of course, the heavy weights on your grade, is when you actually write something. Now, I will talk about this more as we move into the course. So for right now, just know that it's part of the course. We will talk more about it. We'll give you examples of what it looks like. But basically, you're going to come up with a concept that you want to create based on the things that we've learned. You will then code that, make sure it's working. And then you will do a code review with me, which is really where you go through the code telling me what it's doing and your thinking process. And that process is as real world as I can make it, because every person who's professionally coding is having to do code reviews in their environment. So I do it because I think it's a great way to assess how well the concepts that we're doing is translating to the student. So it's an important part of my course. The other thing is the last develop it, which is really the kind of final exam, is on the 10th of December. Okay, enough of that. Let's kind of shoot it home now. Let's now talk about, in our course, you're in the start here, right? And we've talked about Python, what you're going to learn, what you're going to need. We've talked about all that. When can you start? So in this case, I'm releasing this course a couple of weeks ahead of the start of the semester. So you are not, of course, required to do anything before the start of the semester, but if you want, you totally can. Okay. Now, why would you want to? In my particular course, I'm going to use Git and GitHub VS Code as the editor. By the way, if you want to use something besides VS Code, you're welcome to do that. It's just the recommended setup I'm going to do, and you're going to actually have a local development environment. So if you have no experience with Git or GitHub, it would be a good suggestion that you work ahead a little bit. So that way, if you run into any challenges in that area, we can give you some help. Okay. So, enough on that. GitHub here is a free account. I should have linked it. I will by the time you see this. But if you don't already, you will need, in order to complete what I'm about to show you, you will need to go to github.com, sign up for your free account. I'm already logged in here. Give it a username, whatever email, doesn't matter which one. By the way, if your user account's already taken, they won't let you because it has to be unique across their system. So create a username, give it an email, a password, and then this username is what I will need. Make sure you are in correctly before you give me this step. Okay? I know I'm talking pretty fast. So what I'm going to do real quick, and honestly, we are towards the end here, is I'm going to change my view of Canvas to more of what you see, okay? And hopefully it'll become clear why I'm going to do this. So in my course, and for those of you that have taken it in the past, this is a change. And for those of you coming in, this is the way I have it set up, is that you have to move through this course in sequence. You can't jump around, and it actually forces this through the structure. Now, what do I mean by that? Notice here on week 0, which again, this is the intention that you do this either the first day of the semester or sometime before the start of the semester. You come in here, you watch the video you're now watching with me, but until you do these, at least watch this and view this, you can't get into week 1. And this will be the way this course is laid out. And it even shows you here, you actually have to complete all items. Truth is, it's just the first one, the second one's a view, but let me show you. So now that you're in here, again, you're watching this video, you're going to submit the assignment. And you can either do it, they give you a ton of space here to do that. You can either type it here, okay? Now that's my user, so GitHub username, you want to provide yours, okay? You can also provide it here in the comments. If you have any comments, you're welcome to make that and hit submit. Now, once you hit submit, what happens is I on the backside will get it, and then I will add you into our course organization on GitHub. And it's a way that we can create public and private repos, and something you'll learn about through our course. Okay, so now that you're here, I'm going to go back to the home, and this is what I'm trying to show you, is now that you've completed that, we still don't have this open, because the other thing you just have to view here is you do, if you want, and this is, by the way, not required, but it's fun to do, and I think I encourage you to do it just to say hi to whoever's in here, okay? And then once you do that, I am using Discord. I'm starting, that's something new I'm doing this semester. I will actually give you some more. I just found out, again, I've released other classes. You're the last class for me to release. I have found out the links I've been giving for Discord are not taking you to our course specific chat. So I'll tell you, you just need to join that. And you'll see what I mean when you get in there. But now that we've done that, we could either hit next, okay, which actually is going to take us into week 1. Now I'm going to go back to the home, because this, you can view it whichever way you want. But notice what happened here. As soon as I got through those 2 items, then my week 1 showed up. Okay. Now attendance is not going to be done until the Friday before the semester starts. So, even though you can view it, you can't reply to it until then. More information about that. And then this is the week where we're going to have some work to do to set up your local dev environment. And then to complete the first week's work, you have to do a code along. So that's why, releasing it, it's early. Again, you don't have to, but it is a good idea, if you can, to just make sure you're working as much ahead as you can. I do also have a short discussion here to where if you run into any issues with your local setup, you can ask for help. Again, you could either do it here or Discord. And in general, what I recommend is, if you're comfortable, is using Discord, because you get used to that environment. Okay, I know it's a lot. Start here. Glad you're here. Thank you so much. I know you have choices about your educational time and treasure, meaning your dollars, and I appreciate you choosing this class. I hope to honor the selection that you've made, and I look forward to getting to know each of you in the process. All right. Peace.